Hey guys, I'm Mcfarlane. I played Ghostface in Scream 6, and you're watching Craven Something Scary.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, visitors, subscribers, my patrons, and of course, my Cravenites. Welcome to Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Well, guys, this is going to be a fun show tonight. It's one I've been looking forward to for quite some time, actually. And ever since I was able to get my guests booked, it's been something I've been very excited about. And I have to say, this is the first guest that I've had. I've had guests from a lot of movies, a lot of Scream movies, but this is the first guest from a Terrifier film. So this is kind of like breaking some new ground, and I'm very, very excited about that. Just some real quick notes up front, guys. We have about 1 hour with our guest, and as always, I'm going to respect that time because I'll always want him to come back, and I want it to be a great experience. So we're going to respect his time that he's giving us tonight. Also, would like you all to submit your questions. If you have a question about, Terrifier 3, the filming of it, of course, Bobby's work as the stunt double for Art the Clown, which is amazing. We got many pictures to show you tonight, lots to talk about. But I encourage you to go ahead and begin sending in your questions. And as I always tell you guys, because we're limited on time, and because of the volume that we often will get, I can't promise you that we're going to get to all of your questions, okay? But please don't take it personal because it's not. It's just a matter of shuffling time and volume. And plus, I've got questions. So just know that it's not personal, if your question's not pulled up. However, I will say this. If you guys if you want to have a burning question, you really want to make sure we get it addressed, and you'd like to support this channel so that I can continue to grow, keep the lights on, and have guests like Bobby tonight, if you send a super chat, that will also move you ahead of everyone else, and I will put your name on your comment on screen, and Bobby will address that for you, okay? I can promise you this. I will not end this stream without every super chat being addressed. So just keep that in mind. No pressure to do it, but if you feel inclined to, you'll help you'll help support the channel, and you'll get your question answered. So it's a win-win all the way around. All right. I want to give a shout out to Sarah Campbell, who's moderating the chat tonight. Thank you, Sarah. Also, my moderator, Mayanne, is here. Thank you as well. So I know the chat's going to be amazing. And you're going to see Sarah post links she just did. Again, now every few minutes so that you guys can follow Bobby on Instagram. You're going to be able to click the link in the chat. And also, if anyone tonight is watching and you are in a position to book conventions, or if you know someone who's in that position, or if you would be interested in Bobby doing a private autograph signing for you, that actually can happen. And all you have to do is visit Sixcom Marketing, and the link is in the chat. Click the link and go there, and you can get all the information for booking, availability, and fees, okay? So trust me, guys, if you're in that position, you really don't want to miss out on this opportunity. It's because it's going to be amazing. All right. Well, I'm excited. I think I've got everything out of the way for everything I wanted to say before I brought him on. So, guys, please welcome to the channel for the very first time, and hopefully never the last, Mr. Bobby Mcfarlane. Mcfarlane, how are you, Bobby?
Hey, how's it going?
It's great. Again, as we're talking backstage, but it's so nice to meet you, and I
You too.
really appreciate it that you've made the time to spend with me and my audience tonight. I really do. Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
Fantastic, man. Me too. All right, so we're going to get started, guys. And just kind of, and Bobby, where I like to always kind of start is not your origin story, if you will, but kind of how, when did you first know, like in your heart, you had a passion to be an actor slash stunt performer? When did that passion really ignite in you?
Well, I was born in a small town. No, I actually it did. It really did start when I was very, very young. I even when I was a little kid, I ran around the house wearing like karate PJs all the time, and was very obsessed with Jackie Chan movies as a kid.
Nice.
And pretty much from around age 8, I would say, I wanted to do stunts. Originally, I really wanted to be a martial artist on screen, and a fight choreographer specifically. Um, it's not where my path
Nice.
ended up taking me. I do some fight choreography, but mostly I do stunts now. So
And you never know where your career is going to take you still.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Because I mean, I've heard stories from, I have a real passion for the stunt community. I try to bring in as many stunt performers and professionals as I possibly can because number one, you guys don't get the credit that you really deserve because without you and your peers in the industry that do this and they do it so well and you did it so well as well. Yeah, I will go with that as well as
Yeah.
well. But you get me, you got what I'm saying. But no, for real, if you guys didn't do what you do to the level that you do it and the seriousness you take to do it, these movies would be horrible. They would be a joke. We'd be sitting
Yeah.
we'd be laughing in the audience. And because what I always view is like the stunt community and the performers, you really bring to life those scenes. And I just want to tell you, thank you for your hard work. I know that often goes unappreciated by the general mainstream movie going people. And I'm here to try to stop that as much as I can with my channel and whatever sphere of influence I have. And so, I mean, I just love that, and one thing, the reason I brought this up was I've talked to other individuals that, were stunt performers for a very long time. And then all of a sudden they shifted and started doing stunt choreography for
Yep.
films. And it just happened naturally.
Yep.
And so I'm glad. So don't lose that passion and dream because I think
I'm still
it's
aiming
going to
for
happen.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good. Now, listen, we've talked about Terrifier 3 and before we get into any specifics, because I do have some specifics I want to ask you about, but before we do, I would just like to ask you overall, okay, just overall, how does it feel to be a stunt double for Art the Clown, he's quickly becoming a horror icon very quickly? And how does just that feel like to you personally, knowing that, that's you up there on many of those scenes?
It is very strange. I mean, full disclosure, I did not know about the franchise when I got hired for it. So
Okay.
when I got the call from Drew Leary, the stunt coordinator, he was just
Okay.
like, "Hey, I need you for these dates. Are you available to do some doubling work?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he's just like, "Yeah, so you're gonna be playing a clown." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "But like, uh, evil clown, like murderous clown." I was like, "Oh, okay." And you're gonna have a sword fight with a chainsaw. I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
um,
I love it. I
so
love it.
so it's been a very big like ramp up roller coaster for me to experience. Like, I a friend of mine was a big fan of the franchise, so I mentioned to him, he's one of my training partners. I was like, yeah, I got booked for this thing. It's I'm playing some evil clown or something. He's like, oh, well, that's cool. I was like, yeah, it's something like Terrified or Terrifier, and he's just like, what the heck? He started losing his mind. I was like, oh, is this a thing? And then like he called over other people and they were like, you're really you're getting to double him. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a thing.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's great. And um, that's actually one of the questions I had for you. You answered it. That's perfect. Now I'd like to show some folks some pictures here, and Bobby, because I do have a lot more questions, but
Sure.
just would like to ask this one in here in general. How long was the process to get to turn into art? What was that like, the makeup process, the transformation?
It was some time. I it was over an hour. I want to
Wow.
say it was somewhere around like hour to 2 hours, somewhere in that range. Every day.
Wow. Whew.
Yeah, they're very meticulous. They like it. The the entire prosthetic mask has to be glued on at every point on your skin. So
Oh,
they like meticulously like glue, put a layer, and then they slowly fold it down. And as they fold it down, they're putting another layer of glue so that every part of your skin is attached to it, so that it becomes completely morphed to your face. And then they have
wow.
to paint it, and then they have to like put everything around it. So,
Oh my gosh. How heavy was that mask when it was all layered and glued? Does it feel pretty heavy?
no, actually, very, very light.
Oh,
Like most of the time, I forgot it was there.
oh,
Um,
good. Okay.
yeah, yeah, it was. I've worn prosthetics a couple of times, and that was probably one of the nicest and most comfortable one I've worn. Yeah, they're made of like a really, really light. I think it's silicone. Um,
Okay.
yeah, they're
Hmm.
kind of airy feeling. They're actually really
Oh,
nice.
that's nice. Good.
Yeah.
Good. And for everyone out there who wants to see after that hour or two of work, of makeup work and all the mask and everything and the costume, here is Bobby transformed into Art the Clown. Look at, oh my gosh, look at
Spitting
that.
image. Looks just like
Woo!
me.
Amazing, Bobby. I mean, just incredible. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It's just now I have another question I can ask you about this. When you were transformed into this character, did you like I'm not sure like did your brain just all of a sudden switch gears? Like I'm no longer Bobby, I am now Art. I'm going to just turn into him.
I tend to only do that when they say action.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
I mean, to be honest, even like, from the inside looking out, I can't even see what I look like. So
Right.
I catch myself in a mirror and be like, oh Jesus. Like, um,
Exactly.
so yeah, I mean,
Woo.
I'm not even entirely aware of how crazy I look. Um, but yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I try really hard to mimic the characters
Hmm.
and the actors that I'm doubling, and make sure that I know how they move and know how they like hold themselves, and I try my best to like really study the actor and their portrayal of the character so that it's as seamless as possible.
Oh yeah, and trust me, it you pulled it off
Thank
because
you.
it's I mean that it is like it's just completely fluid watching the movie
it's
completely.
It's funny, in one of the comment sections there was a fan who had said, "Oh, I recognized when it was the stunt double," and I was just like, "Oh man, that like it's cool, but it also hurts a little. Like my
Nah.
goal is for you to not notice." And they were just like, "Oh yeah, I knew it was the stunt double right here because um, he was just kind of standing differently and actually looked even more like violent and intense. And I was just like, huh. And I went back and I like looked at the scene that they were talking about, and I was just like, oh, that, yeah, no, that makes sense, because I was so focused on the safety of Lauren's double at that moment that
Uh-huh.
I had just done this crazy stunt with her, and I mean, she had done the crazy part of the stunt, but I was like helping her do this crazy stunt, and um, because of that, like I was so focused on her safety afterwards that my brain kind of went away for a second, and
Ah,
I was just like, oh, I need to be stalking, so I stalked forward, but I didn't like maintain the exact posture that he does, and that's when they noticed. I was like, okay, but to be fair, I've not heard anyone say that they noticed any of my other, which I'm in there a
yeah.
lot. Like,
Yeah, no, I believe it, man. No, and like I say, I mean, he must just, he's probably watched the movie 1,000 times, dissected every scene, and that's
oh yeah,
cool. But no, I saw nothing,
yeah.
nothing for that. Just, I mean, I thought it was just great.
Thank you.
And I knew a lot of those scenes that was you that I was
Yeah,
watching. I knew it, but I didn't know it by watching. I just knew because of your
yeah,
role.
yep.
Um, just a couple more shots I want to share. Now, who would tell us about this? I mean, you're getting direction here, right? This
Yep.
is, and do you remember, like in this particular? And I'm going to ask you more about direction, but do you remember this particular scene that you were
Yeah.
talking
This
about?
is this is Damien Leone telling me she's gonna kick you in the chest right here. Um, so
Nice.
yeah, this is I dragged Lauren down the stairs at this point.
Yep.
She goes to
Mhm.
run, grab her foot. I drag her down the stairs. A little bit of that scene got cut. There was a little bit more scuffle in the original, but uh, we I'm kind of struggling with her, and she turns around and like just boots me in the chest and sends me into that wall. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so
That was that scene.
that was that
Nice.
scene. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. And then, of course, here we are again at the stairwell.
Yep.
I guess preparing probably for that,
Yep.
potentially.
Yep. That's exactly what that
Um,
is.
nice. Nice. And then now, well, I'm going to, what? I got some more pictures. I'm going to save them. I'll save them for later. I won't show them all at one time. Um, okay. Well, now you mentioned earlier that someone had reached out to you. So how did this opportunity come about? Was it just through your agent or was there any other connection?
So for the most part, stunt people don't have agents.
Okay.
We
Okay.
generally get hired by word of mouth through coordinators. So
Nice.
it's really just what relationships do you have with what coordinators? Do the coordinators know who you are? And then there's this really great um, resource that we have, especially on the East Coast, called Stunt Listing, where every stunt person in especially in the New York area is listed on there, and coordinators can just go in and search by all of your like skills as well as your height and weight
Okay.
and all that. So, I
Okay.
mean, I'm lucky enough to be the only person who is the height and weight of David. So,
Nice.
yeah. So,
Well, and the more you do, like so especially with this being a very high profile movie in the horror genre for sure.
yeah,
And I know that's just going to open more doors for you.
yeah.
And
I've already worked on 2 other horror movies since that because of it,
yes,
probably. So,
fantastic. Yay. Well, I would love to have you back when the time is right to talk
yeah,
about those. That would be
certainly.
fantastic. Oh, now, were you given a script of the movie before you, or when you got there at any point, or was it just we're going to go through scene by scene kind of thing?
Yeah, I was given what are called sides. It's basically a
Okay,
miniature portion of the script, the part of the script that you need to know about. Um,
gotcha.
yeah, so I just had like the basic breakdown of the scenes that I was in. But the way that the scenes kind of played out, it actually was pretty open to interpretation in the original sides. It was
Hmm.
Damien really left it up to Drew and us to like work through and like figure out a fight. He knew where he wanted it to pace through, and he had some like moments of beats that he wanted to happen in the fight, but he really did allow Drew and us to really like choreograph it out kind of from
Nice.
scratch in a lot of ways. So yeah.
Fantastic. That's a pretty cool to have that freedom, you know, whenever a director
Oh,
will
it's
trust, you will just
yeah.
trust and say, you know, I trust you guys to
Yeah.
do this. And that's because then you get to interject some of your ideas and your perspective into it.
Yeah, which is actually very rare. I mean, insanely rare. And Damien was super
Yeah.
awesome about that, where like
Mhm.
I get this look on my face when I get an idea, and it's kind of hard for me to hide it. And most directors do not want to hear anyone's ideas. And Damien, to his credit, is really good at collaborating and knowing when to collaborate and when to even shut things down. Like he'll ask for your ideas, but if it's not the perfect idea for the situation, he'll shut it down, and he knows exactly when to shut it down and when to take the ideas. And it's really
Cool.
amazing to see. But I
Yeah.
did. There are parts of like events that happened in those scenes that I'm very excited about the fact like that was entirely my idea. That's crazy. Like
That's so cool. I
yeah.
love that. That's gotta feel pretty good when you're watching the movie
Yeah.
back, you know, that like, hey, that came from my noggin.
Yeah. So so in the fight, like there's that moment where um wow, I almost forgot the character name. I was just like Lauren, no, Sienna. She slams me, Art, down onto the countertop, and she's like holding in there. And during that struggle, originally it was like choreographed that like, okay, she's holding you down, and then you're like starting to fight back, and she slams you back down, and you get frustrated and just tackle her. And I was like, okay, great. And then as we were doing the scene for the first time, we're walking through it. We get to that spot, and she slams me down on the counter. And I'm just on the counter. I was like, oh man, like I have this great idea. And like Damien was just like, oh, what is it? What do you see? What do you like? What are you seeing in this moment? And I was just like, well, I just cut her stomach open with a chainsaw. And we've established that, like, you know, it's been established in the movies that he is crazy and he eats flesh and all that. I'm just like, what if rather than tackling her to beat her, I just bite the open wound on her stomach? And
Yes.
then Drew was just like, and then just like fully lift her and body her to the ground. And I was just like,
Oh.
yeah. And and Damien was just like, oh yeah, that we're doing that.
That's so good. That's great.
So
Oh man, well, that is really cool. Like you say, that is very rare,
it is
and
so rare.
it's nice to have that kind of like give and take with the director.
Yeah,
That
even having a director
relationship.
who's nice enough that you feel comfortable
Yeah,
saying things like that. Because like I'd be
exactly.
terrified to say things like that around most directors. That you'd get fired
Mhm.
from every job going forward.
Yeah, yeah. That's well. I love to hear that about him. That is really cool.
Oh yeah, he was legitimately my favorite director to work with. Like he
Mhm.
absolutely and just his expertise across so much of like the process was crazy to see as well. You know, a lot of directors they know how to direct and maybe they know how to act, but they
Mhm.
don't necessarily know every part of like cinematography and lighting and things like that.
True.
And they just leave those to the other departments. And he, again, like he knew when to leave things to the other departments, but he also had no fear about getting his hands dirty and like stepping in, and being like, okay, we're going to move this here, we're going to do this here. I mean, uh, half of the days that I was on, he was the one who put my entire prosthetic on and paint because
Wow.
he was the first one on set. So it was just easiest for him to do it while the makeup team was working on David. So like he really gets his hands into every part of it and like
That's pretty
really
awesome.
really is good at every part of the process, which is cool to see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the fact that he has learned himself how to do those things is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know, because as you know, some directors, they just like to direct and that's it. That they're a director and everybody else, that's your job.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. You know. Hey, real quick, we got a couple of super chats that have come through.
Cool.
I promise everyone that you move to the front of the line. I keep my word. We've got one from the amazing Sarah Campbell, one of my main moderators here on the channel. Sarah with a $5 super chat for the channel. Thank you, Sarah. It really helps keep the lights on. She says, I know this stream's about Terrifier, but I saw on IMDb you were in a few episodes of Fallout, which is a really cool show. Yes, indeed. How was the experience? Well, you know, Bobby, we talked backstage about some of your TV work.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that Sarah asked this now. So tell us about that experience.
I am a huge Fallout fan. I was a huge Fallout fan long before that. I mean, I played all of them. Fallout 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
The coolest part of that, like, I mean, all of my friends were working on that. Like every stunt person in that is someone I know fairly well. So I can't suspend disbelief while watching that show because I'm literally watching all these people I know left and right in every scene. But walking onto that set was incredible because so I was in the scene that was in the Super Duper Mart, the grocery store.
Grocery store, right.
Yeah, and the set dressers did an incredible job. They turned an entire actual grocery store, they gutted it, and they turned the entire store into a perfect replica of the Super Duper Mart in Fallout 3, the first one that you come to when you come out of the vault. So it was insanely surreal to like walk in and like be in the physical version. There are large portions of that room that are never on camera, like the back meat packing area and like all these things. Like, all the things that were in the game are actually like set dressed, and they didn't even use them for the show. And I'm just like, they went above and beyond, and it's so crazy to be here. And plus, all of the like branded materials from the video games, like Blanco mac and cheese and all that, they're all laid out on the shelves. Like every brand name, every item you can pick up in the game, there is one somewhere in that room. It was incredible. Yeah,
attention to detail.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. That was also a very aggressively closed set. That was probably one of the tightest NDAs I've ever been on, where you weren't allowed to have a camera on set at all because they didn't want anything leaking. They wanted to keep it really secret. But yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Wow, fantastic. That's one I was wanting to ask you about myself. So
Yeah.
Sarah, thank you so much for your super chat. What a great question. And yes, it's a great show. And it's so cool that we get to see Bobby on screen without even realizing it's him. And I think that's that's pretty amazing. We also have another super chat we're going to get to before I get to other questions. I do see your guys' questions, and hang tight. Talking Star Wars with the $5. Thank you so much for your donation. Has Bobby seen the other Terrifier movies since 3 came out? Did you go back and watch what came before?
I haven't gone back. I very much so I watched Terrifier 1 and Terrifier 2, and then I watched Terrifier 2 back to back twice when I first got the job. To the coordinator Drew's credit, I didn't know the franchise, and he straight up asked me, like, he's like, "Oh, have you watched this?" I was like, "No." He's just like, "You should probably go watch the movie. It's gonna be a unique character." I was like, "Okay." Like normally I go research the actors anyway, but
right.
It was a good call because I ended up watching 2. I watched it all the way through, and then after I watched it, I was just like, "Okay, we gotta study." So I put on to a second time, and I just spent the entire movie just sitting there like creating mnemonics in my head of like, okay, so he kind of holds his head like this, and then his arms are like held here, and this is kind of his gait. And I was literally just like miming him while watching the movie through every scene, and just trying to get like his movements down, which definitely worked out in my favor, because when I got to set, that was like the first scene that we shot. That was the first thing that Damien said was, he turned to Drew and he's just like, it's incredible. He moves just like him. That is so useful to have him be able to. So I originally wasn't supposed to be in as much of the fight as I was, but but Damien was impressed with my ability to mimic Howard's portrayal. So they actually like made a set of prosthetic teeth for me so that they could put my face on camera, so they wouldn't have to like do what we normally do in stunts, which is like really hide the stunt person behind the actor as much as possible, where I'm like covering my face throughout things, which is also funny because I had to break the habit of covering my face behind things. Like we'd be in the middle of a scene, I'd get hit and I'd be like, boom. And they're like, stop covering your face. We can't tell it's you.
That's awesome. I couldn't tell either. Let me tell you. It was, I mean, like I say, I was like, well, where is he? I'm sure. I think that's him, but I don't know. It was so good. It was so good.
It was a running joke that on set, most of the crew couldn't tell Howard and I apart.
Wow.
So we started messing with them, and we like made this pact. At one point we were sitting in the dressing room and we were like, next time we go outside, you're gonna like mimic my body motion and I'm gonna mimic yours. And we walked out, and I'm just like trying to like do a David walk, and he's doing a me walk, which was really creepy to watch, by the way. He did an amazing impression of me, and it freaked me out. But it like doubled down the fact that no one could tell us apart anymore. And like, they'd come up to, he also was just pranking them. So they'd come up to me and they'd be like, David or Bobby? And I was like, oh no, Bobby. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they'd go over to him and they're like, hey, David. He's like, oh no, I'm Bobby. And they're like, wait. And then they'd come back over to me.
That's so awesome. Oh my gosh. Pretty darn cool, man. Honestly, that's great. I love it. Oh, well, listen, talking Star Wars, thank you for your support, and great question. Another super chat just popped in right now from our good buddy DJ Plays Favorites. DJ, what's up? With a $3 super chat. Thank you. Says, do you have a favorite kill scene in T3?
Ooh. I mean, okay, so this is it's an odd one to have as a favorite, but it's my favorite for kind of an odd reason anyway. So I do a lot of filmmaking myself, and I do short films and stuff like that are action oriented short films, which allows me to choreograph without necessarily being paid to choreograph. So I choreograph fights and I create action short films and things like that.
Nice.
Which I also do all of my own editing, sound, VFX. I've like learned all of those trades at like
wonderful.
But because of that, honestly, my favorite kill is I think it's actually the first kill in the movie, when he walks into the little kid's room and you don't see anything.
Right.
Because the sound editing in that is the most incredible sound editing I have ever seen in a movie. Like any movie.
Wow.
That the sound effects of like that kid speaking, getting cut off, the sound of the swing and hit is so horrific that with just sound alone, you see more than you would have if it was even on camera.
Yes. That's amazing. Okay. Wow. That's pretty cool, man. You know, I mean, really, I know that scene in I thought it was. I'm like, I was really glad that it was tastefully done. If
Yeah.
you know, and they did
Yeah.
not show that. I thought that was
Yeah.
a very good move, and I'm glad that decision was made. And you're right, the sound effects and your imagination is like all that
It's
scene
almost
needed.
worse than seeing it. It's just
Exactly.
like,
It's true.
yeah.
It's so
I mean,
true.
sitting in the theater and watching that and it hits and you're just like, oh, oh, we're in for a ride.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he went there. He did that. And
Yeah.
then of course, with the little girl, the little one, you're like, "Oh man." And
Yeah.
then, we know what happens there with the little creepy wave and all that.
Yeah.
And he spared her, but yeah,
I
it
would
was.
I think my second favorite is when he's in the bar and he's just like sifting
Oh,
through all his weapons and he just pulls out a gun, blam. I was just like, yes.
yeah, totally got me off guard. I was not expecting
Exactly.
that.
The subversion of expectations there was amazing. Just like,
It
hey,
was
gun.
a gun. I'm like, what? Okay. Yeah, that was great. I agree. Oh, DJ, thanks so much, buddy. Great question. Fantastic question. Um, and we got you guys are being too kind in the chat. Thank you guys. I appreciate it, and just so happy that Bobby's with us. And just a little quick reminder while we're going along here to follow Bobby on Instagram. He's got some great videos posted on Instagram, his page. You should check those out. Trust me. So click that link that Sarah posted. Go follow him, and then after the stream, go back and watch those clips. You're going to love them. And one more time, guys. Well, not one more time, but again, if you are in position to book talent for conventions, or if you know someone that is, or if you'd like to have a private autograph signing where Bobby can literally sign all of your T3 items in privacy, you can arrange that by visiting Sixcom Marketing. And the web address is right here, sixcommarketing.com. And when you go there, you'll get booking and availability and fees. So that's all you need to do. And you can have Bobby come to your location or to your convention. So take advantage of the opportunity, guys, if you're in that spot, or if you know someone that's in that spot. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. And real quick, I want to acknowledge a channel member anniversary real quick. Carbonite Jedi has been a monthly supporter for 8 months to the channel. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate your support every single month, buddy. May the force be with you as well. Absolutely. All right. Very good. Very good. Let's get to a couple of questions in the audience. Then I'll get back to some more I have for you as well.
Sure.
Let's see. Here's one that I really like. It's from my friend Keon. And I just lost it. Sorry. Oh, here it is. When filming Terrifier 3, what scene was wild, even for you as the stunt guy, stunt professional?
All of it.
All of it? Imagine.
Yeah, geez. So I was primarily only there for on set for the everything from Lauren getting dragged down the stairs through till the end, essentially. So, but yeah, I mean, all of those scenes were wild. Like obviously the rat scene. That one was, oof. Yeah.
Bet. Yeah.
And I mean, me strangling her with the intestines, and she bites through them, and
yes.
I don't. So I don't remember who came up with that idea. It's one of those weird hive mind things where I can't remember if it was my idea, Drew's idea, Damien's idea, all three of us at the same time. There was some collaboration going on, of her like biting through the intestines while being choked with them, like,
Oh.
and same thing with like slamming her face into the body cavity. That was,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if I came up with that or Drew did or Damien did. There was a lot of collaboration in that particular section of the scene, but yeah, like the that was such a last minute decision, and they had to have the like go to the special effects people and be like, can you make this happen? Like, so they had to like make a special prosthetic of the intestines that had like a void in it that they could put nasty stuff in it, so that she bit through it and it squirted out and she spit it everywhere. So
Oh.
but that was all done like the day of. It was all like that decision was made last minute, so it was really crazy. But yeah, I mean, everything in that scene is crazy and horrific. Every beat that we got to, it was literally just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and now this happens, and I'm like, oh God.
I love it,
Um,
man. That's awesome.
I actually I wasn't on set. I was on set, but I was in another room for all of the times that Art slaps Sienna in the back of the head. So I didn't know about any of that until I saw the movie, and I was cracking up so hard about that. It's such an
Yes,
amazing character choice.
absolutely, man. And I just, there was more. I don't know, something about this T3. Just Art was. I thought there was just more of everything, like more
Yeah,
personality.
yeah,
Just it really was. I think the best one yet, as I said earlier. Just my opinion,
yeah.
and it was really, really good. All right, we got some more super chats that just came in. All right, guys, thank you. We're going to start in order they came in. Paul Harris sending in a $5 super chat. Thanks, Paul. Says Bobby was the final battle between Art and Sienna your favorite? And what's your favorite battle? Sorry, what's your favorite final battle stunt in horror? Ooh,
I,
there's two questions.
I mean, it has to be my favorite because I did so much of it.
Exactly. I bet. It's
I mean,
great.
I gotta pull the footage for my reel, so I've seen it so many times. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it is my favorite, and probably my favorite in horror. I don't watch a huge amount of horror, and the horror that I do watch is kind of like niche. It's a very different type.
Okay.
Uh, so like my two favorite horror movies are, uh, if you can call them horror movies, they're kind of not. It's like on the edge where it's like a technicality of being a horror movie. Are One Cut for the Dead, and Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Oh, it's a great movie, dude. I love that movie.
Yeah,
Give me a woodchucker, any day of the
yeah,
week.
yeah. So,
Love
and those
it.
don't really have like, I mean, oh, there is a final battle in Tucker and Dale versus Evil, but I don't even think that's like the best part of the movie. That movie is just amazing
It
um,
is.
throughout its arc. And the same with One Cut for the Dead. It's like not a true proper horror movie, but it is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Um, it's like even outside of the horror genre is one of my favorite movies. I
I don't think
recommend
I've.
it
Go
to
ahead.
anyone. Yeah,
I've never seen it.
yeah, it's not super well known. The advice I give to lots of people when, anytime someone asks like, "Oh, what do you recommend for a movie?" That's one of the ones I give, and I'm just like, um, if you watch this movie, just know that for the first 30 minutes, you're gonna be sitting there going, "Why did this idiot tell me to watch this movie?"
Gotcha.
This is not very good. And then
Okay.
around the 30-minute mark, there is something that happens
Okay.
that will completely shift your view of the movie, and you literally just turn and go, "Oh, this might be one of the best movies I've ever seen."
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna watch that this weekend sometime, maybe
Yeah.
tomorrow. Seriously,
I
I
believe it's a
love
Japanese
recommendations.
movie, but it
Okay.
is extremely good. And
Okay.
it's got multiple twists in it, and
Cool.
yeah, the first half hour you're gonna be like, this is kind of crap. Why am I even watching this? And then all of a sudden it just changes, and you're like, oh.
Yes. Ooh. All right, guys. Well, one more time. One cut from
One
the
cut for
dead.
the dead.
For the dead. One cut for the dead. All right. Just making sure I typed the notes so I wouldn't forget. Okay. Well, guys, if y'all haven't watched that out there, I think it's worth checking into. I'm certainly going to look forward and watch it because get a recommendation like that is why you got to watch it. Let's see. Okay, here's another super chat, Spooky and such. Hey, thanks so much for your $5 super chat to the channel, man. Really appreciate it. Hi, Steven. Hello, and Bobby. Bobby, what film would you like to star in?
Oh man, that one's like the toughest question. Um, yeah, I've been asked this one a few times, and it's just like I don't even want to think about it because it's one of those I never get to choose.
Sure.
I mean, in stunts, you very rarely even get to like put yourself out there for something if you see it coming out. You really only get jobs by the coordinator pulling you.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't even really like look forward to things in that way.
Okay.
Just because it's also, location based. So if
True.
they film in LA, I'm not gonna be in it. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
oh, it's one cut
Well,
of the dead. Um
one
I
cut
got the
of the
name wrong.
dead.
Yeah.
Okay, one cut of. All right, no worries. One cut of the dead. Got it. Perfect. Um, if you had an opportunity to work on a Scream film, would you be interested in that? Maybe doubling
Uh
Ghostface, or maybe being Ghostface in the costume.
heck yeah. Yeah, every job I get, I'm excited about.
Sure.
It's one of those like even the smallest budget like unknown things, I'm excited to work. I love doing what I do, so it's and I'm not going to bring less of myself to anything I'm working on, so because what would be the point? Um,
True.
but yeah, obviously, like any big franchise would be amazing to be in. If they hadn't ruined the Matrix, that would be my go-to.
Thank you for saying that. I don't have to now. Yes. Yeah. Oh
Um,
gosh.
yeah.
Spooky and such. Thanks for your super chat. Great question. And we got one more super chat that, again, I promise always moved ahead of the line. And it's from DJ Plays Favorites again. Thank you so much, man, for your $5 contribution. Was there a movie stunt that said, I want to do that for a living? And if there was, which movie?
Oh, that's a darn good question.
It
Ah.
is.
So, oh man. I mean, it's definitely going to be a Jackie Chan movie.
Okay.
Because that's really when I fell in love with all of these things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The first movies that really sold me on wanting to do stunts were Who Am I? Jackie Chan, and Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, so I think I was drawn. I didn't really fully recognize what a stunt was as much as I did fights. So, like the grocery
Okay.
store fight in Rumble in the Bronx was like one
Mm-hmm.
of the first ones that I was just like, I want to do that. Um,
Nice.
yeah, but there are a lot of like crazy Jackie Chan stunts too that are just like you watch
Yeah.
them, and I mean some of them make some people look at them and go like, oh man, I want to do stunts, and some of them make you look at them and you go, I don't know if I want to do stunts.
I mean, I remember one of his outtakes, or no, and at the end of the movie, he always shows
Yeah,
like when he would do a stunt and miss it or something. And I
yeah,
remember seeing one of them. I don't remember which one it is. It might have been one of the Rush Hour movies, but he was jumping. He's on a boat, and he did some kind of jump to another boat and came down and just like either I think he either broke his ankle or
yeah.
it was like really bad. He really
Yeah.
injured himself, and
That
I'm like,
was
oh my gosh.
Mr. Nice Guy. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I'm fairly certain it was Mr. Nice Guy. Yeah, he jumped to a hovercraft and broke his ankle.
That's it. Yep.
And they put his ankle in a cast, and then they painted his cast to look like a shoe so he could finish filming.
Insane. Insane.
Yeah.
Gosh. Wow. That's
Yeah.
pretty crazy and pretty admirable at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. DJ, thanks for your super chat. Great question. Indeed. Now on Terrifier 3, I was just curious because you mentioned you were there, so much. What was your average shooting schedule like each day? Was it like 12 hours starting at 6 a.m. or was it, how'd that work out?
No. It was, I think I left for set. My hotel was like 15 minutes from set. I left for set at 6:30-ish every morning.
Okay.
And I got done at set at 12:30 the next morning or 1 a.m.
Oh my goodness.
I got what's called,
Wow.
yeah, I got what's called a force call almost every day I was there, which is when you don't technically have enough time to go home and sleep. So like, um, you get actually extra pay for that, but it it is rough on your body because yeah, I was
Yeah.
leaving set at like 12:30 in the morning, get
Hmm.
back to the hotel by like 12:45, 1, fall into bed, fall asleep, wake up again in 5 hours to go back to set.
Oh
Yeah.
man. That
Yeah.
is tough, man. That has got to be really tough. And for how many days would you say? Do you remember how many days the shoot was that you were there?
I think I was there for a week and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet when you were all done, did you go home and sleep for a couple of days? Like just like leave me alone.
Oh yeah,
I'm crashed.
I was broken. I was
I bet. My
Yeah.
gosh, man. Um, so I'm going to get to another couple of questions here from the audience. And Paula had a question. Friend Paula. She says, Mr. Mcfarlane, what was your most dangerous stunt you had to perform on T3? And what was David Howard Thornton like on set? So most dangerous, you think?
I mean, dangerous for me or dangerous for them?
Right, right.
Yeah, I mean, because there's very much instances, very different levels of danger. Like, so the chainsaw was not a fake chainsaw. It was a real chainsaw.
Ooh. Oh wow.
It had a real chain.
Oh my
They just
gosh.
they dulled the chain so that it wouldn't
Okay.
cut things. But
Okay.
it was a real chainsaw, and it was really running while we were fighting to like really sell
Yikes.
that. So a lot of what I had to do was like be very meticulous about my swings had to be dead where they had to be, and
Yeah.
missing was not an option. It was brought up multiple times, like if I get too close to Lauren's hair, the chainsaw is going to pull her hair into the chain.
Oh
So like
gosh.
I have to be very aware. Like when she ducks, I can't be too on top of her because her hair is still there. Like,
That's right.
um,
Dang.
when I swung the chainsaw through all the objects on the shelf,
Hmm.
I I'm not allowed to hit that wall. Like that's not included in like the set dressing. They don't want to repair a wall. All
Right.
those things are meant to be broken. So I have to like be within like this 1 inch gap.
Phew.
When at one point when she hits the chainsaw away, I had to do like this big swinging motion and come back at her, and I had to swing. The camera was about 6 inches, maybe more like 12 inches off the ground on a steady cam. And just because of how hard I was swinging, I had to swing and I had to go through the gap between the camera and the floor to continue my swing. And I had to do that
Oh.
all while maintaining the action and the intensity and
Mhm.
not hit $100,000 camera. So
Oh,
like,
man.
there's a lot of things like that.
Wow.
In general, I don't think most of what I had to do as art was specifically like dangerous to me.
Okay.
There were a couple of like I got some bruises here and there, like picking her up and slamming her on the ground. That was a big like full send move. And then also I was about to say something and I forgot what it was. No, there was another one when she slams me on the counter, there was actually a moment where I we were having trouble because it was such a close-up shot. We were having trouble really getting it convincing that she was like fighting me and that it was like really a struggle. And I legitimately just told Laura, and I was just like, we'll just do it for real. Like, push me down on the counter. I will actually fight back. Don't let me up. Like, actually struggle with me. And
Okay.
then when I get like a certain distance from the counter, slam me back down as hard as you can. And I'll just, stack it, make it look like I hit. I underestimated how hard she hits. And my face hit that counter.
Oh,
So,
dang, man.
I hit the granite countertop on my cheekbone. It was like thump. I was like, it's real
Oh,
now.
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Whew. So much stuff has to be done with precision, doesn't it?
Yeah, and when she hits my face off the fridge, my because of where camera was, I didn't have much room to like hide that it was fake. I had to like get as close as possible so that it would sell. And I got so close on that at full speed, my prosthetic nose touched the corner of the fridge as I took that head reaction. So at the end of that, they called cut, and I was like, "Oh, that was almost a broken nose."
Oh, man.
But yeah,
Woo.
like there's mild danger at all times in everything we do in stunts. For the second part of the question, David is amazing. Legitimately one of the best actors I've gotten to double with. He is just super
Aw.
friendly and gracious. He's one of those people you don't have to worry about meeting your heroes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was so easy to get along with and super chill and understanding of like everything going into it, and also thankful towards stunt people and all that, which we don't always get that either. So yeah, I mean he was amazing. And also he because on a horror movie, like, it gets really real and dark. A lot of the scenes you're doing are really dark, and
Very.
With both Lauren and I hate that I can't remember her name, her little the little girl in the scene as well.
Sienna?
No.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. Oh, shoot. I got it coming up right here. I'm terrible with remembering names, man.
Yeah,
I'm
me
the
too.
worst at it. Let me see. Let's see. No. Gabby? Was it Gabby?
Yes.
No. Yeah, Gabby. Yeah.
Oh, no, not Gabby.
Not Gabby.
Gabby's the
That's Antonella. Yeah, no.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you guys know.
we know.
Yeah,
I see her in my head.
yeah. The little girl in that scene was like, a really good actress, like especially for
Yeah.
her age, insane.
Yeah.
And at points I legitimately had to walk off the set and like take breaks because it was like
Hmm.
triggering my PTSD because
Oh.
she was such a good actress that when she got into character and was like screaming and crying, I was just like I need to
Oh.
get, like it got too real. And the same thing with Lauren, like when she gets into character and she's like screaming in fear and like and crying, like it's so real that it like gets to you. So
Wow.
um but because of that, uh David is amazing at like in between scenes, like breaking that tension and like being the comedian clown, like just
Hmm.
like cheering everyone up and keeping everyone's spirits up and just being super positive on set,
Hmm.
um so that like everything doesn't get bogged down in like people being like, oh, this is tough. Like
Oh man, like
yeah,
you say, there's some really dark stuff happening in
yeah,
this movie.
yep.
Which it really is. So anything you imagine you could do to help lighten that mood, lighten the air, was a good thing.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
um, we're starting to wrap up, guys. We've probably got 5 minutes left, and we'll call it a stream. So any last minute questions at this point? I'm gonna have to say super chat them in because we're getting really short on time. I still have like a couple of questions too, so we're going to
Lightning
move
round. Let's
quickly.
do it.
Let's do it. Exactly. It's lightning round is exactly what it is. This is one I thought was great. RJ asked, did you get nauseous anytime during the practical gore in the movie?
No, I think I'm pretty well disconnected with the like
Yeah,
recognizing these are props and everything.
sure.
I mean, I definitely sit there and like they describe a scene. I'm very good because of like directing my own stuff of like imagining what it's going to look like on camera immediately. So when you describe
Okay.
a scene and you show me the props, I know what it's going to look like. So I get the reaction that you get watching the movie just in my imagination most of the time. So it's
Okay.
like, they describe a scene. I'm like, oh boy, that's gross. But yeah, no, I didn't have to deal with the nausea at all.
Oh, good. Super chat just popped in real quick from Mayanne. Thank you, Mayanne. She says, thanks for this amazing interview, Bobby.
Thank you.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you, Mayanne, for your support. Appreciate that. And I want to shout out to my friend over here, Tony. What's up, man? Glad you made it. We're about to wrap up the interview, but glad you could make it still. All right, a couple more questions for me, Bobby, and then
Sure.
we'll go ahead and close it up. Um, what would be advice that you would give someone that may be listening or watching this that desires to be a stunt performer, or they want to get into the industry, maybe even as an actor or stunt work? What would you advise them? Any words of wisdom?
Run for your life.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I mean that's hey, if you want that advice, just contact me on Instagram or something. It's that is
Okay,
so long-winded. It would take me so long to answer, but I mean,
fair enough.
it's the biggest thing is patience. It's really tough to get into the industry. On average, most people have to do dedicated training like it's your job already for at least 5 years before you can start making a living at it. That's like the average.
Wow.
So and I feel like most people I know who are in the industry, by that 3rd or 4th year mark, you get frustrated real bad. Um,
Yep.
you see it every time around that point where you're like, I'm doing everything right. I have all the skills and no one's hiring me. And it's part of the build up, and that's really hard to deal with. So the patience is the most important thing. You also just really have to have a very specific mindset to go into stunts. Uh,
Hmm.
which I mean that's a long diatribe as well. But
Sure, sure. Well, no, thank you for giving us that. I mean, but you're laying it out straight.
yeah,
This you got to be ready to commit it daily. This is not just you don't just walk in and say I'm a stunt guy. You got to prepare an over affair. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's good advice right there.
But legitimately, like if people like contact me on Instagram and
Okay.
they really want to get into this, yeah, I'll give them any information I can. Some people are pretty open about like the good and the bad and the ugly and how to approach
Mhm.
it. And some of our advice is good.
That's awesome. Well, guys, listen, Bobby, Mayan and Sarah both have been posting links. There is his Instagram. So go follow him. Click that link. It'll take you right to his page. Follow. And then he's given an invitation. If you're interested in trying to get more advice about how to do it, he's offered to respond to you. That's pretty darn cool, if you ask me. Also, again, if you are watching this and you are able to book talent for conventions or know someone that can, or if you're interested in a private autograph signing with Bobby, you can make that happen by visiting 6Com Marketing at 6commarketing.com. There's a link right there Sarah posted, and you can go there for booking availability and fees. And I highly recommend you take advantage of this, guys, again, because it's an amazing opportunity. And real quick, Bobby, as we're heading out, I'd love to show I saw one of these backstage images, and we found out something that maybe no one knows about Art the Clown, is that Art actually likes to eat Popeye's chicken. Look at that. Popeye's chicken, the food of choice. And I'm not getting endorsed, by the way, no royalties. But I just love this picture.
It's funny is that David actually like specifically like requested that they get him Popeye's chicken because it was the easiest thing to eat because he could like use a fork and like slide it between his makeup and not mess up his makeup. So
oh, nice. Isn't that awesome? I think it's hilarious. Look at these two guys beside each other. Look at that. Now, come on. That is it's identical twins. It's crazy. I could see why the staff of that didn't know who was who.
Yeah, and that's before I even had the prosthetic teeth, so like our jaws don't look the same there.
It's too, but even then, look at that. Wow, it's incredible. Oh my gosh. Just fantastic. Well, listen, guys, this has been so much fun. Bobby, I want to thank you once more for making the time tonight to speak with me and my audience. We've been looking forward to this.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. May saying thank you. Sarah is thanking you for tonight too, as well. It's really great. And a lot of people will watch this on replay. That's the great thing about the live streams. Once that's done streaming, it goes into the replay mode. So it'll be on my site and people will watch this tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now. It's just going to continue to be viewed. So it's pretty awesome. Thanks, Keon. I thought it was great. I enjoyed it so much. Well, all right, guys, you know what to do. You know his Instagram. You know how to get a hold of 6Com Marketing to get hooked up, and you should do so. So, Bobby, on that note, sir, I think we'll call it a stream. I don't want to go too far over our agreed time. So I appreciate you sticking with us, and this was a load of fun. And I will say it, yes, I do look forward to the next time. I really do.
Me too.
So awesome. All right, so Bobby, you just stay where you're at. I'll meet you backstage in a moment.
Yep.
And for everyone in the chat, thank you all for being here. Thank you to Sarah and to Mayan for moderating the chat. And for everyone who gave a super chat to the channel, thank you so much for your support. And one quick thing I want to mention before we leave. Next Saturday, that's right, 1 week from tonight at 7 o'clock, I am honored to have on a history-making stream. It's going to be the first time that Lee Waddell, the original Ghostface, Alan Robinson from Scream 2, and Jeff Brockton, Ghostface from Scream 3, they're going to all appear together for the first time ever on my channel. Yes, right here, 7 p.m. next Saturday. I'll have all three Ghostfaces that performed the opening kill in Wes Craven's trilogy. So you guys do not want to miss this as well. Make plans to be there. We're going to talk about an event that they have called A Night of Screams coming up in Vegas on March 29th. We'll talk more about that next week, but just make sure you're here. And if you could, Mayanne or Sarah, put a link to that stream real quick before we leave so that folks can also click that. I would appreciate it. Okay. So on that note, guys, we're going to end it here once more. Thank you, Bobby. And I look forward to talking to you again very soon, hopefully.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
All right. Good night, everybody.